I've been to the Opera House today to buy tickets for the ballet for a matinee for my granddaughter to see Swan Lake at the end of the year. It's raining, but it's so nice to see tour groups back and big cruise boats. So great. Hi crafting friends, welcome to my podcast. My name's Barbara Radzavikas and this is Bondi Knit and Quilt. I'm thinking that I'm going to leave my name at the bottom of in the description box because I think it might be confusing the algorithms. It might make it more clear. It's an experiment. I'm going to see how this works. But as it is now, for the experiment, it's Bondi Knit and Quilt. So we'll see how it goes. I've been doing this for a year and I think it's very exciting and interesting. I love seeing other people's podcasts. I like seeing how other people do things, especially, and how different personalities are drawn to different aspects of craft, knitting and quilting. It's so interesting and it's a social and cultural interest, just seeing how other people do things because I'm sort of a hermit, an introverted hermit, crafting hermit. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you to my subscribers, new and old friends, not old. Welcome. It's very humid here today. I've just turned the fan off because it makes a racket. But in this episode, I thought we'd get up to date on what I've been doing. It's very, very exciting for me. I made a penguino and I made a whole episode on how I constructed it. Stephen West. I don't know why I hadn't heard of it before, but it's so beautiful, and I used a lot of my colourful scraps. I don't know, I just love the look of the construction. It's boxy, it's kimono style, and if you're interested, have a look at the previous episode on it. I thought it was such a fun knit. So now I've moved on and I'm doing a ripples jumper by Hilly van der Sluis, and that is very interesting also. And I'm doing it with these beautiful Iredale yarns that I got a few years back, and it's one of my whips. So I don't have many whips going at a time. I seem to like to get one finished before I get stuck into another one, but that's not always the case. So this is how far I've gotten so far. It's in this beautiful earthy greens and heathered colours, and I just love it. It is you know how I am with patterns. I was watching a YouTuber who's making episodes just on this pattern, and right from the start I noticed that from the ribbing, just done the opposite. I don't know how I can read patterns the opposite way around, but where I've got the pearl stitches, just got the coloured part. You can see where that's going. Looks really nice on the back. Carrying floats and everything. I've gotten this far, so quite a bit. I tried it on with one of those plastic tubes and it fits around my hips, so that's an excellent start. I don't have to frog it, but I'm using up these beautiful colours, and this is the main colour, lovely green. I've got 12 balls of these 50-gram balls and a few of these, and this is the pattern. I'll show it around the right way in a tick. So that's my whips. Finished things, I've got a few finished things other than the penguino. My friend Judith gifted me 2 beautiful balls of wool last time she went to the wool shop, and she bought me this. So I've made 3 Sophie scarves. 2 are from Judith and 1 is from my daughter Jennifer. It's beautiful too, but I've been doing that for like a year and hadn't finished it. So this is my colourful Sophie scarf. It's got a sort of a silky finish to it, somewhat like what I made my hats out of, my medieval hats. But the definition, stitch definition is beautiful on it. And so that is one finished Sophie scarf. And this is the other one that Judith got me, and it's Rowan felted tweed. I got almost to the end. You can see I haven't got kitchen scales or anything to weigh my yarn, so I ended up putting grey just on the tip. But it is a variegated, it was a variegated ball of felted tweed, and it's so lovely. It goes from a lovely blue to a almost emerald green, and then it goes to a paler blue, which is beautiful. And then there. This is the 3rd Sophie scarf. This is from Jenny. She got it for my birthday, and it's just lovely too. I knit it on big needles because I wanted something different, and it was, this yarn is tricky to gauge. What I just don't gauge swatch on scarves. I just go with the flow. That is so lovely. Looks lovely on too. So that's my 3 Sophie scarves. I love them. Also, my friend Sylvia asked me if I'd make her a baby jumper. It's a vintage pattern. A jumper. So it's a Peter Gregory pattern, double knit. Sylvia gave me the wool that she had. It's this beautiful wool, but it's not really baby wool. I know it says baby wool on the thing, but it's like very thick wool. And the pattern suggests 3 1/4 millimeter needles. It was just too tight and too hard on my fingers and everything else. And so I changed to 4 millimeter needles, 3 1/2 and 4. And this is the little jumper I made. It's got a nice diamond pattern around the chest. It's got button ease to get the baby's head through. I think it's for about a 2-year-old. It only took 2 nights to make this, so it was a very fast knit. And I think it's lovely. It's so soft. But that's for Sylvia. She has to put the buttons on. It's ready to go. So that is my other work in progress. This week I also did some sewing. So I also made 2 episodes since I last podcast on how to pin up and bind a quilt. That was exciting. So that's 2 whole episodes on quilting. And the other thing that I have been sewing is a tabard, and I've been thinking about it for ages. And the fabric is so beautiful, but it's a very loose weave, and you can see through it, and I'm not sure what it is. I got it from Tessuti here in Sydney, Australia. It is beautiful. I think it was made in Italy or somewhere, but it's so beautiful. And I'll show that in a while also. I tried it on, looks lovely. What had happened was, why I was procrastinating was I had cut it out, and my husband had overlocked everything. It needed overlocking, and that was fine. And I thought, oh, you know, I can wear it overlocked. And I had it hanging there for 6 months or so, then in the cupboard for another 3 months. And finally I thought, you know, this fabric is just too beautiful to not finish. So I decided just to fold the edge over and do a small running stitch around the edges. And I think it looks great. It'd be great in winter, just as it's not warm or anything, it's just decoration, but it's lovely. So yeah, that's something that we will look at shortly. Let's see what else. I've got my book here. I've written things down. Scratch. I also got a couple of books this week. I've been looking for Ruth Park's book on the Muddle-headed wombats, Australian story about wombats, and about his adventures. And when I was in 2nd class at school, I was 9 years old, I would say, and my teacher read the Muddle-headed wombat every week. I think it was Friday afternoons when we were relaxing. She would read a chapter of the Muddle-headed wombat. One of the students had been given a beautiful, oh, I love that book that she had, a beautiful edition of the Muddle-headed wombat for her birthday. And she brought it in, and the teacher was reading it. And, you know, I just love it now. And so I finally got my own copy. I think I'm going to read it to my granddaughter. It's just beautiful. The Muddle-headed wombat is such a gorgeous character. He gets into, and he's such a friendly little thing. Look at him. He's such a darling. It's illustrated by Noella Young. And it's just, I don't know. You know how it is when you read books when you're young? It was first published in 1962, I think. So it was probably really new when I was at school. But he's just fabulous. I thoroughly recommend this book to anybody who has children under the age of 12, I would say. 12-year-olds can read it for themselves, but younger people would love their mum or dad to read it to them. And this book I got too. This is Penelope Lively's Life in the Garden. It's such a lovely book, and it's got beautiful illustrations. I've coloured them in. So I coloured in the pictures. It has a few pages like that throughout, but it's short stories, reality and metaphor chapter. A lovely book. I would thoroughly recommend this also. Time, Order and the Garden. The Fashionable Garden. The Written Garden. Beautiful book. I also went into the Opera House. I had to go in there this week. I went yesterday. Yesterday was Monday. I went in because I wanted to get tickets for the ballet at the end of the year for my granddaughter. She's a ballet little girl. She's 6 and she loves the ballet, and she's so into it, and she feels the music and she loves dancing. So I went in and got her tickets and her mum for the end of the year, and it was a fun day. It was raining, but it was really nice, and all the tourists were back and everything. So that's what I've been up to. I think that's about all I've got for this episode. I'll do some introductions. There was, you remember I was doing the Nordiska pattern by Caitlin Hunter. The yarn was wrong and it just didn't turn out right, but I can't bring myself to frog the beautiful border. So I'm thinking, what can I do with the border knitting? I'm not going to frog it. I might just keep it and maybe make it into a cowl. It's a thought. So if you like my podcast, friends, please don't forget to subscribe and like. All helps. So I think we'll have a deeper look into some of these things we've been doing. I've just done some sewing, and I've been particularly wanting to make a loose shift type garment that goes over the top of a t-shirt for summer. It's made out of very fine fabric, you can see through it, and I particularly love the pattern on this, and it's black and white, grey. But this is what I've done. I made the pattern myself, so I just drafted up a basic pattern, shift pattern. I did it from a dress actually, and I left out the darts and everything. So it is just a garment that goes over the top of a t-shirt and a skirt or pants, and it makes it look lovely, I think, anyway. So I've been wanting to make this for a few years. The fabric I got from Tessuti in Australia. It is beautiful. I mail ordered it because I got it in lockdown, and I just love it. I'll do a long shot. I want to trip over my chair. So the top fits really nicely. It's a bit oversized, and it has positive ease. So you can see how it looks. Can't go back any further. How it looks over the top of a knee length. It's knee length, and it goes over a 3/4 skirt. So I think it's slimming actually. It's just one continuous line, and yeah, so back. It was a lot of fun to make, although I had to do hand sewing and French seams on the shoulders to give it stability. But I think it turned out quite nicely, and I love it. I'm just so pleased it's finished. This is a little jumper I made. I'm left-handed, so I read the instructions in reverse. So where it's got the buttons here, mine are on the other side. I don't know how this happens, but it did. That's the only thing that's different. Followed the instructions. It's a really nice garter stitch on the top and pearl on the bottom, and this lovely diamond pattern just with pearls and plains in the pattern area. The neck was really easy to do. And the buttons that I haven't sewn on. Sylvia will do that. But yeah, it's ready to go. A lovely little knit. This is the pattern Ripples by Hilly and Sluis that I'm making. Mine won't probably look like this, but it's a modification of the whole thing. Not very much. I'm basically following the pattern, different color. I'm doing green in those beautiful Uredale heathered colors. I really love them. And I hope to have that finished in a couple of weeks. There is no rush for it, but it's nice to have something to knit in the afternoons, evenings, watching telly or just knitting. That's my new pattern, Ripples. I have a few weather clips. I take a photo every morning of the sunrise out my bedroom window because it faces the ocean and true east, so I see the sunrise. And I've taken a video every morning except Saturday, and for half a minute, and I'm going to include that too because the sunrise have been so interesting. The colours are just spectacular, and the cloud formations and the colours in the clouds, it's just lovely. So I'm going to share that too. And one of the clips has a kookaburra, a few kookaburras I would say, madly going bonkers down the hill a bit. So I hope you like my weather clips. I love taking photos of the weather. These are the books. It's beautiful. Even the cover is beautiful. Those beautiful plants. Short synopsis on the back. I thoroughly recommend this book. And this is my muddle-headed wombat. Another beautiful book. That's me signing off for this week, friends. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for visiting. I'm so glad that I have time to talk about things that I love doing, things that we all love doing. And let me know what you think about the name change. Okay, bye friends. How come we look so thin?